replicate that method in a fast, accelerated way, and shifting people from health focus into business is tougher than going business to business. And I've always seen the opportunity with the Nagic as a way to help people solve all of the major pain points and major problems in their life. And if I am carrying that identity as the one who has the golden goose, the one who has access to what everybody else desires, and be able to show them how to get that and break that down, then we get the results that we're producing now in GPM many years later. So my question to you is, if I was to ask you what is your identity when it comes to this business, how do you see yourself in the sales process when you speak to somebody, right? Jonah mentioned at the beginning of this call that if we build enough value, the people aren't going to care the price of the products or the price of the opportunity itself, which is true. But even more importantly than that, it all starts with our identity. So if I was to ask you right now who you see yourself as when you are talking with people, when you're showing up offline, online, in person, with your friends, with your network, how do you see yourself right now? Pop it in the chat. So if you're paying attention to the chat, you'll notice that you're getting a lot of different answers, right? We don't have like one unified description of how we see ourselves. And that's why everybody in this chat is most likely getting very different results, because we're going into this opportunity as the only variable, right? The compensation plan is the same for everybody. The products, the science, how it all works is the same for everybody. Mr. Oshiro is Mr. Oshiro for everybody. All of the things that we get access to, from the order processing to the paperwork to the rest of it, is exactly the same and identical for all of us, right? Which is actually the benefit to this company. It's the benefit of direct sales, it's the benefit of this business model, and it's what most of us are attracted to, that we don't have to create, innovate and invent products and do all the traditional business stuff and wearing all the hats and so forth. But because we are the X factor, meaning with our identity being out of alignment, we aren't going to get the results that we desire. So the reason I'm bringing this up, you guys hear me okay? Some people are saying they're cutting. Am I cutting out? Or you can hear me all right? All right. The reason why I'm bringing this up initially is because everything starts from this place. So some of the identity shifts that I've had to make, because I had struggles in the early days of this business. I saw myself as a water expert when in reality I'm not, but I thought I had to be. I thought I had to know the science and talk about it and be a product expert and all these things. But in reality, I don't even like science. I'm not a science guy. I don't like chemistry. I don't like all this stuff. It's not my thing. So I was out of alignment with my identity, trying to be someone that I wasn't. And this was causing me a lot of issues, and I wasn't making sales. So I actually ended up shifting into becoming, in my identity, as a professional problem solver, as a consultant. I needed to find out what people were dealing with, what they wanted, asking them powerful questions, so they came to realize what it was that they wanted and what it was that they needed. So I needed to shift from this guy who had health problems, who was sharing the water and doing the demo and pretending to be a water expert, and then like expecting people to just all of a sudden duplicate and grow this massive business in my organization, to someone who had a unique set of skills, a professional problem solver who found a business model that was unlike anything else. And once I found out what people wanted and needed, I was able to guide them and present to them the total big picture. And we were one of the first ones to really focus on this back in the day, especially with the younger demographic, the millennials, around giving people what they actually wanted, instead of what a lot of people do is like presenting it in a way where you need to be like a water presenter, demo person and whatever. A lot of people don't want that, okay? You can't see me? Are we having technical issues? Can we maybe take the picture off, guys, and just put my face on this call? Is that possible? Anyways, it's a little bit weird, but it's all good. So that's the first thing. So I think you guys need to shift your identity. There we go. It's a little bit better. And then afterwards, your daily habits of how you're showing up in your business is going to be a match to your identity, right? So there's a quote that I really like. This is who I am, so this is what I do. So ultimately, if you were an athlete, and you are paid the big bucks professionally as an athlete, there are certain things that athletes do every single day, whether they want to or they don't want to, and that's because that's their identity. So they train, they eat a certain way, they recover, they sleep, and if anybody says anything about it, their identity is so in alignment with being an athlete that it's second nature to them. So if we're going to be a professional network marketer, a professional direct salesperson, a professional online marketer, whichever avenue you resonate with the most, there are certain things that you need to show up as every single day as part of your identity, because that's who you are, so that's what you do, period, end of story. And if that is out of alignment, that's why a lot of people are not having success, because they have overwhelmed, they're confused, they're not sure where to start, and that's actually all stemming from a lack of clarity around their identity. Pop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense for you and you're starting to get some different perspective on maybe your identity needs a revamp, right? Just like sometimes you see people get a makeover, sometimes you see people they change their appearance, they change the way they dress, they change their environment, they move to another city, and they start to get different results in their life because of their associations and their environment. We can do this at any time. We can choose right now at this particular stage in the company's history, right before the 50th anniversary convention, and we can choose to elevate our identity and say, you know what? I'm tired of doing it the way that I've been doing it because it's not getting me the results that I want. And so therefore, moving forward, I commit to this new identity, which means that I show up every single day in a completely new way. And that's the beginning. That's the first step. The next part that I wanted to share with you guys today is around your posture and your positioning. So once you're clear on your identity and you understand your worth, you understand your value in different situations, different conversations, in the DMs, on the phone, in person, there's so many different ways that we can connect with other human beings and find out how we can be of service and how we can help them by a series of questions that make them open up to us. And we can do this in a leveraged way with systems, trainings, videos, but we can also do it face-to-face. We can do it in the DMs, and we can do it anywhere we go, right? The old school network marketer, the 3-foot rule is any human being around you might need something that you can help them with. So there's that way of doing it, and there's also more streamlined other ways of doing it as well. But posture and positioning is where most of you are probably having the biggest challenges, because when you get into a conversation with someone, the dynamic is off. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now. So how many of you are finding that you fall into a situation where you're trying to make friends with prospects, make friends with leads? Put a yes in the chat. If you're trying to make friends with them, you're trying to get to know them, you're trying to do all this stuff. Okay. So what we like to call that is the friend zone, right? We've heard about this when it comes to dating. You're attracted to another woman and you're trying to date her, and then all of a sudden she puts you in the friend zone, right? And as soon as you get put in the friend zone, what happens? The intimacy, the romance, the dating, off the table. You're now just another friend and you're disappointed, and it's pretty much a dead end at that point. I think in this business model, it's the same thing. If I have a problem and I want to have a professional person help me and solve it, and that professional person starts to be my friend, then that authority that I thought they had is out the window. So therefore, I'm not going to take things seriously. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to be coachable. I'm not going to be open-minded to the solutions that they present, because now we're friends, we're homies, we're the same, we're equals. And so a really big mistake that a lot of people make in this business is they try to make a friend rather than keeping the posture and positioning that, listen, I can solve your problem, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm in control. This is my process. You listen to how I do things, and you're the one who needs what I have. I don't need you. I don't need your money. I don't need to sell you anything. I'm good. Because if this is not in alignment, if you're not the right type of person that I'm looking for, I'm going to move on to the next person. And you have to actually have that posture. And what will happen when you do this is people are going to be more receptive. They're going to follow instructions. They're going to be more professional with you as well. And you're going to get right to the point. Your process is going to be really, really dialed in and tight. And a lot of people are missing this. It's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, very casual, and that's going to hurt a lot of different people. So you need to manage expectations, you need to stick to a process, you need to show them information in a duplicatable way. So for example, you could have a webinar, a pre-recorded training, you could have a YouTube video, you could have a lot of different tools. Like one example I'll share with you is back in the day I did the Kangen water demo in my house, in my living room, and I got pretty good at it. I enjoyed it. It was lots of fun. I learned from Daniel DiMichele and Bob Gridelli and some of the legends of Enagic, and I loved it, right? I watched it. I'm like, this is so cool. I can do this. So I got my showmanship on. You know what I'm saying? I was all excited. I'm doing the thing. I got my jokes ready to go, and it's the same joke every time, and you know, we get the laughs, and it was great. And what I realized is at the end of the presentation, I would simply ask people, like they were excited, they're leaning forward, they're nodding their head, they're doing a lot of body language that made them seem like they wanted to buy what I was talking about. But at the end, people wouldn't buy. And I was so confused because the whole time I was doing it, I figured they were going to be a yes. And after I was disappointed on multiple occasions, I started asking them, why are they not getting started? And you know what the number one feedback I got from all these people? They can't see themselves doing the demo. They loved the demo, they couldn't see themselves doing the demo. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty solid feedback. Like, they love the information, they love the water, everything's great, but then when they started to think about, can I do that? Or do I want to do that? Or do I want to do the showmanship thing like Balazs is doing? Nah, I'm good. Crossed arms, they're out. So the business started to not quite work out. So then I decided to change the tool, and instead of doing the demo, which I was good at and I enjoyed, and it worked well, I started to show a video of someone doing the demo. And I think I used Daniel's, I used Bobby's, I used different people. And it was really amazing because I had to do less work all of a sudden. Now I'm standing in the back of the room drinking my water and filling up other people's water, and I would pause the video when the tomato test would happen because that part got really awkward because, you know, Bobby Gridelli and Elvis Stoico were like moaning like, that tomato's really tasty. It's a little bit weird. Everyone's like, what's going on here? And so we paused the video, gave people the real tomato to taste and experience, and then they would make the moaning and groaning sounds in real life. Then we turn the video back on, they would moan, we'd all have a laugh, yep, that's true, that's funny, we continue, and all of a sudden we went from 1 or 2 people out of 10 to buying to 7 out of 10 buying. Only thing we changed. And so that was the very beginning of us realizing that there are certain things that are effective, that work well, that other people simply can't see themselves as doing. So we started to change the tools that we would use in different ways. It went from YouTube videos to pre-recorded webinars and presentations to all the way to a series of videos that would achieve a different outcome from each video as they went through. So it was very much a self-discovery process of people realizing who they are, what they want, what their goals are, what's holding them back in a non-invasive salesy way. So rather than telling people you need this for these reasons, we asked the question, they pondered and came to their own answer and basically was like, well, I don't have a better way to do what I'm trying to do. This seems like the best thing to do. And that's why our sales are so high, is because we help people find out what it is that they want from within, and then they simply choose to take the next step, and we give them that opportunity. It's not a high pressure sales situation like some people might think out there.